Hey, everybody. Happy Tuesday. It's 10 o'clock. And where are your buds? I don't know what to ask. All right. In honor of the four queens that have raised the bar for beauty standards, I put half a face of makeup on because I was not motivated. See, you can really tell by the lipstick, but otherwise, I do this and play this game. And it was interesting to me. Daisha fell in the middle of the night one morning. It's actually early Monday morning. And I went, oh, that's unusual. And I had thought I'd pretty secured it up there. But once she fell, I went, something has fallen. Something standard has fallen because she was my standard of beauty. And then I learned of later that evening of the South African queen who won. And I went, oh, isn't that interesting? But first, welcome. Thanks for joining. And I wanted to first talk about the weather because we always have to look at that first. And there's a ultrasonic scream being heard by the planet. And if you are a Patreon member, I've already showed that link in the group chat thing, but you can follow Subsistitious Observer for it. And what he was saying was that the plants, everything has a sound and has a resonance like we do. And the distress that the planet is in is causing that ultrasonic scream to be emitted. So the whole planet is aching, and I say the whole planet because the whole planet is now suffering from air pollution through chemtrails and radioactivity. So my body is screaming in pain as we speak, and I'm not taking any pain meds for it because it dulls my senses too much. And so I'd rather just deal with the pain and communicate from the whole body that I have. So wanted you to hear that though and know that um, if you can't hear the scream, that's probably not a good sign. But you can be aware of it and know that even if you are physically unable to hear it, know that the planet ain't happy. So we had to address that. And it was quite sobering to wake up doing that. And I was just happy talking about the four queens. So that's first thing up for the news. Secondly, I wanted to let's see, where am I search sharing? You know, I always like to have a Mandelbrot going. Um, let's pull that up. And how are y'all? What is going on well in your world? Let me get this out of the way. Now I'll save that for last. Okay. Politics, let's deal with that. So the headline is what's most important is looking at the impeachment hearings. And here's why it kind of alarmed me when the four women. It reminded me of the 80s when I was a young woman and I was, and the laws had changed and it gave corporations tax benefits to hire minorities and hire women. So I was one of those women that was sought after and it was easy to get a job. And I was the new darling in the media or in my world. There was even any media back then. So I kind of was aware of that. And at the same time, Clarence Thomas was running and Anita Hill was testifying about her sexual abuse. And really, nothing has really changed in those 30 some years that we are, 40 some years almost now, since those days. And now we have a new darling in which is a negative darling, unfortunately, and that's Mr. Trump telling us his side of the story of wanting to be in office. And so I had to go and look behind the news and go, what are we not seeing? What are we not being told? And again, because as a political science major, I look at it historically and go, if there's news showing me something, there's probably something I'm not seeing. And I also put up Steve Pachesnik's, Dr. Pachesnik's history on false flags. There is a Netflix series called The Crown that he was commenting on, and the Queen of England, and it's that story. But he was going back and talking about the US has had a history of when Pearl had, and it was more antagonistic. And it was women like Pearl Buck who wrote her stop, was able to communicate the humanity of people unknown to Americans so that they could understand them and see them as themselves. And that's why she won the Nobel Peace Prize for it, because she was literally able to calm the natures and really stop some false flag attacks. And I will tell you, we need that kind of writer now. I haven't seen that kind of writer come up, and they're still using the same narratives of us against them, and battles to overcome. So hopefully those writers are coming soon. If you see one, let me know. So what's going on? So I look behind the news, and what's happening in the U.S. is um, the Democrats are having to fight their way to the impeachment hearings. And Pachesnik is a big fan of Trump, so he's not supporting that. I'm finding it's just an interesting observation to watch. And so I went to the White House, and again, it's more looking for the news that hasn't been published yet or picked up. So I went to the White House .gov, the white site, and said, let's see what they're putting out. And over the weekend, they put out the speech, and I don't know if it's a full speech. They don't say if any of it's redacted for the public. It looks like the whole speech, though, where Ben Carson is in the audience, and he's speaking to the American Jewish Council, and he commented the fastest growing organization in the US. And he supported his full support for Israel, and was quite happy to comment on his cutting of all Palestinian aid, which had been, you know, but it's just getting cut more. So he's, and that's what his proud moment was. He was cutting all taxpayer dollars and all Palestinian aid. And so that he was speaking of his pro Israeli or pro Zionist site, which is interesting that those two are not separated clearly enough so that we lump all under one, which is not true. It's like lumping all Christians under Jerry Falwell. So we have to look at it a little differently, and the same with all religions. So be careful when you hear a generic statement of Muslim Islam teachings. If they are being specific about a belief system or someone's stuff, they're whitewashing it in the negative manner. The only other news I saw that was interesting was Juice WRLD. It was a young 21-year-old rapper who died, it seems, of an overdose in the Chicago airport. But prior to being dying, his guns and his drug stash was removed from TSA. So I went, okay, excuse me. TSA seemed to be doing their job that day, but it seemed to might have caused too much drugs to be taken away, and he may have needed some of those. So we'll see what the evidence comes out telling us about that. Okay, so let's get to the extremes. Dun, 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 dun. Ah, no, one more science. Let's do the science first. And this, oops, stop. close. Taking a minute. There we go. I am going to my Facebook page because when I went to the Independent, I have ad blockers and they don't like my ad blockers, so they block the story and I can't pull it up full for you. I saw another link to the story in the Futurist and I haven't found that again. And I wanted to point this out because it was the most interesting fact about it, because how this guy found out about the DNA sperm, his sperm had changed. And that's what was the biggest DNA change it had, that it changed what he was delivering in his sperm. And I saw another story recently of a research, this done a couple of years ago, where they'd taken 91 sperm cells and they were able to go back and trace for all four grandparents in the DNA of the sperm. So different sperm had different DNA of what came across and what was stronger. Thought that was fascinating. But here, you can simply buy a transplant, and had some people ask on the page, is this relative to blood transfusions? And I would say, most likely, yes, I would think so. I've never been able to give blood. So I haven't given any away. I don't know if I received any. I've had a couple surgeries. I don't know if I received any, if I needed any. So I may have somebody else's DNA running up in here. But one of those stories that you go, huh, okay, things that make you go, All right, so let's get to my girl here. So while there were four queens enjoying their crown, and there were four very smart women who are, educated, got degrees and doing their thing, there also, my sister Lizzo decided to flash everybody with her ample size butt cheeks. And as a dom, I go, you're kind of forcing your kink onto the vanillas. But I think that's your point, is putting yourself out there and doing the shock value experience that, gets you ratings and attention. And since she's enjoying it, and it was her intention and plan to get a front row seat and give it her best shot, I have to go, well, it worked. It was that first reaction, too much. But then I go, oh, but you made your point, girlfriend. You made your point. And while we are enjoying the standards of beauty being changed, is really what I wanted to talk about. And that we are looking at a collective change in, not for our generation, old people just gonna complain or applaud, but for children. And it's the young ones that can't read. It's the young ones who are getting images of what beauty means and do not see themselves that it matters most. And as a former beauty pageant contestant, I have done 3 of them, and won my last one. And I have my Serene Southern California Leather Woman 2010. I am pleased to say, from the pageant world, and grateful I didn't deal with any corruption. I was ran for Miss Black Dallas, Miss Botter College when I was much younger. And this I did 2010. Y'all know, Lord. Oh my God. That was a long time ago. Okay, so it was the experience of competition with women, and competition on the bases and the thinnest of levels, our physical appearance and our skills and talents. And some could sing, some could dance. I don't remember what I did. I pantomime. I didn't do anything. I went for comedy. And it was alarming, most of all, to have the experience of performing at that level and putting yourself out that level. I likened it to being a stripper. Ogle me, throw me money. Give me accolades for what I'm showing you, and don't ask for too much more. However, after winning the title, it became evident. Oh, I got a responsibility here, and I've got a responsibility to say something that matters. And after a few years in Hollywood of doing commercials, I realized I needed to be very careful with what I said and use my voice to roof and not sell pharmaceutical drugs. So apologize if you bought some drugs based on my commercials or you went to Vegas for my commercials. If you're looking for me there, I did the swim coach role for that commercial back in, I don't remember, 2011, 2012, somewhere around that time. But it was it's just levels of awakening. And what I find most interesting about looking at the collective picture is that we are changing it. And of all the pictures I did not expect to see are those. The second time, this is the second time it's happened. The first time it happened when the collective had changed and I was like, huh, I can't see the future as well as I thought when Obama won. And I was watching it in home, watching it on the news like everybody else. And when he won, I was just like flabbergasted and went, really? This guy with this Arab name in this time was able to pull this off, even though we are just now finding his birth records and they do look badly botched, but he did. Our glitterati president, I like to call him, he was uh, perfect and pretty. I remember meeting him when he first went to LA and he was about to get on stage and trying to encourage him smile. He was stone faced and pretty serious. But it was interesting just to observe and read his face and just go, this is a man with a plan. And if you've read the Omniverse, there's the testimony of him being in the jump rooms going to Mars and back in the day and was going by the name of Barry Soltero. So I don't have all that story. I wasn't there. I know it was off of Sepulveda Boulevard though. And I went, well, that was just down the road from the house. I would have stopped by and just at least hung out and said, see if I could see anybody coming out. You know me, I'm like, well, let's look and see who comes out. But it was that kind of surprise at his election that made me go, huh, something's going on in the collective, that there are powers that are shifting and controlling. Now, I do know presidential pieces are pretty much fixed. So, as we have our current president trying to keep his job, it is my observation that, oh, no, let me not say my observation. Let me quote him in his speech to the American Jewish Council, I believe was the name of the group. And you can go to the website and pull out the link. He said, why 4 more years? He wants another 12 years. And I went, oh, and he repeated it. No, not 4 more, 12. So and I didn't see a big applaud for that in the audience. That wasn't noted in the transcript, but he did put it out there that he wants 12 years. So he ain't done. And if so, and if the impeachment hearings fail, I suspect he'll get his 12 years. And then we really have a dictator. The oligarch has happened, and we are there. So I don't know what kind of future is in for America if that happens. I'd rather be here in Ecuador watching it than having to be under it there. That it is a reality that I think we'll have to look at. So, with four black queens who are telling us about beauty standards, again, I'm looking at the contrast of, okay, where's the ugliness? What are we not seeing? Well, Lizzo and her butt cheeks. Okay, Lizzo, I'm done with you, baby girl. We'll let you go. Is one option, um, but not the future that we want. And whether we're in a Mandela effect experience or not, we are experiencing definitely some dualities and some merging of worlds. And it's just getting more complicated and complicated. And I love that the worlds are changing, and what I expect of reality is shifting. For Queens is making me shift reality. At the same time, my world, for me personally, is, can I say? Well, my body is old and it's feeling pain. That I must say is the disclaimer for what I say next. But my body is shifting in a way of going, it wants out. It wants to be done. It wants to not play the game of polarity and dualities. And that's alarming to my family who want me to come home and go, no, don't give up, don't die. I'm like, I'm trying to graduate, y'all. I'm trying to find options for this world. Now, four black queens in the midst of, and these are mostly Americans. We only have one international, um, where I feel like it's still just glitter. And I call Obama the black glitter. And I call this experience with the four queens the black glitter. And it's not a nice thing to say. And I know people get upset with me over that. But hear me in this, and that it is a distraction. And let me not say or, let me say and divine plan, because it happened. That's the plan. It happened. It was meant to be. But where's our Simpsons cartoon about that? Where's the Black Queen prophecies about that being the shift of returning to that? And because it's such a it's beauty pageants, everybody. This is not life changing. This is it is life changing for young people. Let me take that back. And as a beauty pageant queen, watching young women look at me with that awe and wonder face of, oh, really? That's possible. You can have your kink and be considered beautiful at the same time and be applauded and admired. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that is the reality we are showing these young women and the future that they're creating. But it's still based on really shallow circumstances. So the traps that my Caucasian sisters have gone through for years are now just being custom spoon fed for the African American audience. And I wouldn't be surprised because I noted that the for the Miss Universe, the runners up were from Latin America and Filipinos countries. So I expect they will be the next target. And I also recall the stats that out of the biggest consumers out of hair care products and makeup are Black and Hispanic women. So no surprise that this is a marketing ploy, and they are really just trying to sell more product, especially since the owner of Essence magazine is now a black hair care product partner. So we know what cover is coming next. But just it's a pat on our back, but it's a pat on our face, really. It's the, oh, aren't I pretty kind of feminine wiles that are being used. And no shade on the ladies. They are beautiful and they deserve to be recognized. I repeat, they deserve to be recognized. And I'm glad it's a wave of recognition that is coming that we can kind of go, okay, yes, we see what you're doing, but we're going to enjoy it anyway. So Fuck you. So I'm enjoying the wave and let the girls ride their high. But it's still a beauty pageant. So what else are we learning? That it is, while we are looking at the beauty, there is danger afoot politically, and there's danger afoot weather-wise, and that we have to be careful more so on that front than anything else. So, what else can I tell you? My throat is still sucking, and I'm not able to do as long of a podcast, so this is going to come to an end pretty quickly. Um, it is my birthday coming up on the 17th, and if I can stay healthy enough, I'm going to have a play party. And as a semi retired dominatrix, I'm coming out to play. So I'm not going to feed you. I'm not going to give you alcohol and drugs because if you want me to play with you, you have to be sober. And I will offer play opportunities of my favorite things, which, part of that, this little tool is a slapper is what the proper title is for. It's a nice thuddy letter. It has a little bit of a sting to it. So if you like a little stingy play, I'll be offering that. And if I'm not well enough, just have to book a session and go old school, which I may not be able to do either. But the ideal is to enjoy myself and have some playtime, which I haven't had. And I got teased with my food play party that I hosted here. And I went, I want some more. So I decided to throw myself a play party, and I hope you can come if you're in town and you got my invite. Otherwise, I will see you on the funny pages. The book is coming along, I will tell you that. I'm on the last chapter on violence and testosterone, and we'll hopefully be able to do some interviews soon if I can. But otherwise, I'll be writing and ask you to, for Christmas gifts, please gift someone. I'm going to create some gift cards for people you love. I've been blessed to have referrals from friends and family, and it is so nice to have that kind of love shared. And when you're excited about something and something works, you share it. And it's just been a blessing. And so thank you, my family and friends that have shared my work and have saw value in it. And one of the things I love about doing maps is it is not, and one thing in particular about third dimensional maps, which I don't do. I include some of it in my work though, but I don't do those specifically because I look at a fourth dimensional from the Mayan. But mainly it's this, is that we live in a time of all bets are off. The fates, the history that we had, no longer valid. There are four queens. Nobody saw that one coming. That wasn't anybody's prophecy. So I just go, you can change your world consciously by your choice. And because we're able to level up collectively and believe things, visions that we have not seen before, they're manifesting. For queens, they're manifesting. And that's power. That's simply power. And because you have the power to do that, the charts really just give you an understanding of yourself and who you were and who you are and what you came here to do and learn. That's probably the most important purpose and what you came here to learn. Secondly, there's something to keep in mind once you have your charts. It's letting go and rewriting your script, because it is really just simply to, I think of our lives that as humans, we have these bodies as cars. My car is a little old and it squeaks. But when you drive your vehicle, you take care of your vehicle best you know how. And best for me know how is to talk less and write more and take as many herbal supplements as I know to get in this body. But it is to drive the car in the direction of that I want to go. And love and peace and joy is bliss or all of those directions. Now I know on that road will be distress, grief, pain, sorrow, and regret. But that's part of the road. That's part of the direction we've got to go. And on both sides, we have opportunities to figure stuff out. And as we are figuring it out, um, we get bonuses, we get blessed, we get lucky because what we focus on, we manifest, period. And the distractions of politics and war and famine and weather are part of the game. And this is part of the game when things get wilder and the ride gets a little more extreme. So, navigating through your heart's desire, which is really usually where those heart, emotional, spiritual, all of those sexual desires, all of those come into play because they are the drivers and they will turn your wheels. So how you focus is the art you're going to create with your life. So knowing that, you can unlabel, as my brother Gary would like to say, unlabel everything. What you've known to be true does not have to be true. And so you can rename it for yourself and what it means to you. It gets complicated, y'all, but it gets easier as you practice. So my voice is giving out. I love you. I'm going to say goodbye and see you next week. Hopefully, I'll have my interview up for next week. So let's see if I can get that done. And look at the face. I like the face. It's kind of cool. The split side version. Makeup. No makeup. But you really can just see it in the lips, first of all, because it's not that strong of a shot. So see y'all. Love y'all. Be good. If you can't be good at it. And please support me on my Patreon. Subscribe, tell a friend, share a post. Thank you.